All right. Testing. I hope you guys can hear me. Once you guys just give me a second, guys. All right. Yeah. All right. Hi guys, my name is Ram and I welcome you to this amazing session on a career in gaming, right? So the proper title is, should you consider a career in gaming? It's a very interesting question and I really want to delve into it. And I know a lot of you who are attending this session are pretty interested in this particular topic too, because gaming has been like one of the most enjoyable things in recent years, right? Because we haven't had a lot of different things we can enjoy, but gaming is one thing that we really are passionate about. To be honest, I am an avid gamer. Like, that's a boast. Yes, it's a boast. I love gaming, and gaming is something that is, I feel, is a medium that is often underlooked, a lot of times. So, in today's session, we'll be talking about whether you can pursue a career in gaming or not, right? That's a very important question, because if you're passionate about something, you want to be able to pursue a career in that, right? And that's what we're going to learn about today. So let me just open up the chat on the side. All right. So now, before we begin the session, I want a confirmation from you guys. I want to know if you guys can hear me properly, if you guys can see me properly, and if you guys can, see the screen properly or not. And only then we shall begin. So till you guys give me that confirmation, say yes or no, I will show you guys Great Learning Academy. Just give me a second, guys. I had it open and I closed it by mistake. Don't worry. I have it open over here. So Great Learning Academy is as simple as writing greatlearning.in/academy. And it's a place where you're going to find a lot of awesome stuff, especially for free. So if you are not exactly sure about what kind of career you want to follow or what kind of career path you want to do, just go ahead to greatlearning.in/academy and click on select career path. So there are a lot of career paths that are available for you. Now, as specific as I can be to game development, we don't have a very specific game development career path over here. That's why I've made this session, and in future we'll definitely have it. But right now, what you guys can do is, go ahead and check out IT and software. And over here, you guys can check out the software development career path. If you select this career path, you will be able to see what are the different things you need to learn, and you'll find all the different courses relevant to you, so that you can begin your steps towards becoming a software developer. Now guys, this is completely free. You don't have to pay anything. That's why we started this initiative for all those people who don't have the fiscal means or the money to pay for courses. But we still give out courses for free, and you even get a certificate, but only after you pass the quiz, because we want to make sure that you guys are learning something. Okay, so in the software development career path, you guys can see all the important things that are required for you to become a software developer. So go ahead and check these courses out. And if you're interested in checking out these individual courses themselves and not the career paths themselves, what you can do is just head to our website and just keep scrolling down. So once you scroll past career paths, right, you're going to find the individual courses like we used to have it before. We started this career path thing because we want a lot of people to, follow a defined path. So you can find them over here. My net has not loaded them properly, so we can't see it. Okay, now we can see it. So you guys can check out the courses also. Or if you want, you can just search it over here. All right, so that's it. Now I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about a session. So let me just open up my chat and see what you guys have to say. All right, so we have a lot of people here today. We have Arpita Kumari, Indian firefighters. We have Sakshi Bhargava. We have Raza Hussain. We have Vivek Reddy. We have Nitish Negi. Ashish Ananya, we have Sudeep Kumar, we have Sakshi, I already said that, and we have Gautam. All right, cool. So we have a lot of people here today, and I'm really happy that we have a mix of both guys and gals. This is because, gaming industry or gaming as a whole is always kind of marketed towards guys, which is not the case, right? Everyone should be able to enjoy it. So I'm really happy that we have a few girls also over here, or women, whatever you prefer. Cool. So let us start talking about this. Now, this is an interactive session. So I want you guys to go ahead and leave your thoughts about this. What do you think about this as a career? Do you think it's even a valid career or not? Let me know in the chat. Or are you here just to, just see what this is and you're never going to pursue it? Or are you someone who's really passionate about gaming and you want to see where it takes you? Let me know in the chat. I want to know what your story is so that I get an idea about our culture, our community. What is it really like? Now, obviously, I don't know all the Indians or all the people in the world's thoughts and everything, but the community I have here right now watching this session should be able to tell me that. I want to know about you guys. Okay, so till you guys tell me that, I'm just going to tell you what are we going to be covering in this session. So in this session, I'm going to be covering a few topics. So first, I'll be telling you guys why you should start a career in gaming. So it's a suggestion from my side. These are the opinions that I feel are what make gaming as a career, viable and awesome to have. And then I'm going to give you some points, some negative pointers of why you should not go into this field. Right now, normally when you're promoting a field, you're not going to talk about the negatives, but I want to be fair to you guys. I don't want to lie to you. There are some negatives also, and we're going to talk about them. Then after we do that, you have to make a choice. And if you feel like you still want to continue, we're going to go to and check out all the different careers that are available to you. And even if you're not interested, I want you guys to stay and watch the careers because there's just so many awesome careers and you'll be really, really surprised because I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't know about these careers. Okay. And then once we are done past that, you can go to how to get started. We can talk about how you guys can start this career path. Okay. And we'll talk about what careers that you guys may be interested in. So I'll be asking questions to you guys and you guys have to tell me what kind of career you want to pursue out of all the careers I told you. And then we'll have a question answer session in the end. So you guys can, completely ask me those questions. So, right. So let me just see what you guys have to say in chat. All right. Vivek is saying video is lagging. I hope it's not that laggy. It's not necessary to see my face all the time. I know it's really beautiful, but yeah, doesn't really matter. But yeah, if my voice is lagging, please do let me know because that's important. All right. So yeah, Sanjay saying gaming is a vast field. Yes. And Indian Firefighters is saying, yes, it's sector's daily growth. Yeah. So I want to tell you guys that gaming is a very, very, very big field. It's growing constantly. And can you imagine this? The gaming industry is bigger than the movie industry. I'm not kidding, right? It feels like everyone watches movies and it should be way bigger than gaming, but that's not the case. The thing is that games are kind of expensive. So that's not the only thing, but then, there's such a lucrative market that it's worth way more. So like the movie industry might be just worth like $8-10 billion, but the gaming industry, its worth is $160 billion and it's growing like crazy. A lot of these big companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, they're investing in streaming technologies so that they can catch up with what gaming has to offer. And they're using gaming as a platform to improve and innovate, right? So gaming is just such a huge field and we often underlook it and we very much underlook it, especially in India, right? A lot of people just go for software development jobs. They don't think about game development, right? So that's why I feel like we need to look at this. Okay, so let's start off by asking the question, why you should start your career in gaming. Okay, so I'm going to list a few points. Let's see those points. Okay, so the first and most important point, if you love games, and I know almost all of you do, then it will be a dream working in a game industry, working in the game industry, because you are doing what you're passionate about, right? If you're doing what you're passionate about, that's all you can ask from life. I mean, you can ask for more interesting stuff also, but then this is what you want to do in your life. You want to be happy and you want to make a change in the world and you want to do something you're passionate about. So if you're into gaming and you get into the gaming industry also, so you're making games, you're playing games, you're really happy. So that's one point I think everyone should be concentrating on. The second point, you're working towards a big goal. You're making an impact in the world. You may not even know about it and you're making that impact. You make a game and hundreds or even millions of players play that game and they're really happy. Let's take an example. So the people who were behind PUBG, right? I forgot the studio that made PUBG, but the studio that made PUBG, right? They were really happy to have all the revenue coming in. But imagine the kind of impact they were having. India has so many people who were playing PUBG and the whole world, all over the world, people were just playing PUBG. So imagine the impact they made. Like, it increased our love for games even more. I'm pretty sure a lot of people got into gaming even more after PUBG became that popular. Even though I personally am not a big fan of it because I'm not into multiplayer games as much, I still really appreciate the fact that they were able to bring a lot of enjoyment to people, right? So you never know how you would make such a big impact or have such a big goal to reach towards. Now the third point, some of the highest paid jobs are over here. So when we look at the careers, right, I will tell you about these jobs where once you reach the top notch, right, that's where you'll start seeing some of the highest paid people in the industry, like the complete industry, right? And there are some CEOs that get paid like crazy, even more than CEOs that are there in other tech industries. Okay, I'll talk about that. Okay, now coming to the point that you will meet a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. So there are so many careers. Making a game is like making a movie. So the amount of people that are involved in making this thing is numerous and is diversified. There are so many people from different backgrounds coming and doing different things. So you get to meet so many interesting people. And I don't know about you, but for me, that's a big plus. I want to meet people, I want to talk to them, and I want to enjoy this overall experience. And another point is almost always innovating. So the gaming industry, right, it's never stagnant. So let's say you're working for a tech company or a bank company, right? You will have here and there some new innovations coming, but you may remain stagnant for a few years. But in the gaming industry, no, that's not the case. In the gaming industry, you're always innovating. You're always looking to make a better game next time. And people want to buy your games because they want to see what amazing next thing you've done, right? Let it be graphics, let it be artificial intelligence, or let it be some kind of machine learning algorithm you've implemented, or some kind of awesome AI that you've implemented, or some kind of amazing story that you've got to share with everyone. There's so many different things you can share, and it's always innovating, right? So you'll always be growing. You'll never remain in one place. And you can play games early, so that's a good plus if you're into playing games. If you're working on a game, right, they'll always have this option of you playing games early, whatever game you've made, and testing it, basically having fun. And good conversation starter. So this is a must, I think everyone should have, is where when you're talking to new people or when you're talking to people, when you want to do small talk, right, and you want to talk about something amazing. So you just go ahead and pull that card out. Yeah, I work in the gaming industry, so I have a pretty cool job. You don't have to say, oh no, yeah. So if somebody asks you, where do you work? And you're like, I work as a software developer in some e-commerce company. Instead, you can always tell them, yeah, I work for this amazing gaming company and I'm working on, Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, or I'm working on Doom Eternal, whatever game. So that's always a good conversation starter. And it always tells people that you're kind of cool. So I think that's a very important point. And a lot of different options are available in the gaming industry. So we'll look at that when we look in the careers. Okay, so these are the reasons why I think you should start a career in gaming. These are my opinions, mostly. And a lot of general consensus is mixed with it. But I think you should really consider gaming if you are agreeing with all of these points. Okay. Now, before I begin and talk about why you should not start your career in gaming, I want to see what you guys have to say. Yeah, so Sanjay is saying even free games like Dead Trigger 2 have vast businesses. That's the thing. There are so many games, there are so many platforms. You have consoles, you have mobile, you have PC, you have, cloud gaming. So you have so many different platforms and there's so many different games. You never know where you're going to find your niche markets. You're always going to be earning money. Now, guys, I'm a little bit disappointed that you guys aren't talking as much in the chat as I expected you guys to. But I get it. Video gamers aren't that, people that talk that much. But I really want to know from you guys. I really want to know why you're watching this session. Tell me, what do you like about gaming? Are you just interested in this novelty of gaming as a career, or are you actually passionate about this thing, or you're just here for fun sakes? That's totally fine too. I just want to know from you guys. Please let me know in the chat. That really make my day, and we can even extrapolate on what you are doing, right? If you like something, we can talk about that also. This is a general casual conversation where I'm helping you guys out to see that gaming is an awesome career. Okay. So we have a first comment here. So that I'm really happy about that. We have Akash saying, I have 2 years experience in Java. So can I switch into it? Yeah, man. I mean, you have 2 years of experience in Java. Now, to be honest, a lot of games are not made in Java. But the thing is that changing languages is very easy. It's like, a matter of snap. Seriously, just Thanos does one snap and he changes the world. You can do one snap and change your language. from Java to any other thing, any object-oriented language. And C++ is the language that is being used the most, and it's not going to be a lot of problem for you to shift into C++. And there are a lot of companies that are looking for C++ developers, especially when you're talking about game development. So don't worry about that. Yeah, you can almost definitely get into the gaming industry. All right. So till I wait for all the comments coming from you guys, there's going to be a little bit of a lag. Let me start by saying why you should not start a career in gaming. So yes, there are some awesome points about starting a career in gaming, but there's some points that really don't make us feel like joining gaming industry. And I have to be fair, so I'm going to list these points. So the first and most important point is the work ethic. In a lot of AAA companies are basically those large companies like Ubisoft, Activision, those companies that have like billions of dollars in revenue, and like EA and Rockstar, the guys who made GTA. So those guys have like so many people they've hired, like more than thousands of people. So they're called AAA companies. Now the thing is that these companies, right, they really exploit the passion we have. So as gamers, we really love games and we love making games. But the thing is, because of this passion, we are ready to work for a lower salary sometimes, and we are ready to work more than the time assigned. Like if there is 40 hours per week, these companies can make us work like 80 hours per week or 90 hours per week, and that's just very exploitative, and it's not really good for your work-life balance. And it's not the case everywhere. Definitely true. But it is prevalent, and it is a little difficult to understand this, right? Because this much work, right, is not healthy. And it's a practice that is slowly changing, but it's still there. So you have to keep this in mind, that the gaming industry can be kind of shady and exploitative. Even with, we're talking about loot boxes, right? That's a gambling mechanics. And these people are pushing these gambling mechanics towards kids, so that they can spend their parents' money, right? And that is, again, a very exploitative thing. So a lot of shady practices are being followed in the AAA companies that are just going for the money, right? Gaming is not just about making money, guys. Gaming is about giving an experience to the other person, helping them enjoy a particular narrative or a puzzle or the gameplay, right? So you have to make your due diligence and, research about the company you're joining in, right? See what kind of work ethic do they have, and are they more passionate about making games, or are they passionate about making money? All right. Now, jobs aren't guaranteed after project is over. So in the big companies like Activision and Ubisoft, I'm not going to say specifically, just let's say all these AAA companies, right? Sometimes when they're done making these big gas games like Assassin's Creed or Assassin's Valhalla, or let's say Ghost Recon Wildlands, what they do is they basically let go of the people who are making these games because they want to show their shareholders that they've earned a lot more money, right? So this is not that prevalent. This is there in a few cases, but I want you to remember that jobs aren't really guaranteed in any field, but it can look a lot more visible in a gaming industry, okay? But that's not the case everywhere, okay? I'm just pointing out the flaws I find. So this is from my own research, what I've seen so far. I'm just giving you the points. Now, there aren't many good regional game development studios, especially, I know my major of my audience is Indian audience, and at least Indian subcontinent audience. So I know that, we never hear about Indian game companies, right? So there are a few Indian game companies. There is a company called Dhruv Interactive. They mostly do outsourcing work these days, but they had tried really well in the past. And there are a few indie game companies. So indie game companies are basically like startups. These are just 2-3 people who just sit together and they come up with a game, and they start making that game because these people are really passionate about making games, and they make games for the sake of making games, not for the sake of making money. So you'll find a lot of indie companies in India. I've seen a few indie companies coming up. And even you can start, right? Even you can just, it can just be you, just one person. So there are a lot of stories about people getting really popular games made just by themselves. Okay, so there's this game called Papers, Please. It's a very interactive storytelling game, but it's made by just one person and became really popular. I want you guys to go ahead and check it out. It's called Papers, Please. Okay, it's not multiplayer, it's just a narrative game. And it's a 2D game also. All right, so in India, we don't have that many development studios, but I hope this kind of communication, community changes all that. I hope one of you in future starts their own gaming studio. Okay. If you're not passionate about the field, then work can be hell. So for all the people who are not really passionate about gaming, these negative things can come out and become a lot more severe. They will look a lot more severe, right? And they will feel a lot more severe. So you have to be, you have to be sure that you are interested in gaming, or at least you are good at some kind of field and you don't mind getting into gaming. Okay. So these are some of the negative points. I felt it was fair to share these to you. Okay. So those were some positive points and these were some negative points. I hope you get the best out of it. Let me just show the positive points again. Maybe, I can change your mind a little bit. So you guys can see the positive points on the screen if you want. Okay. Negative points again. All right. Cool. Now the thing is, it comes to you. It really does come to you. Now it's your choice whether you want to go ahead and join this industry. It's time for you to think and decide. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some time, and I want you guys to tell me whether you are still interested or not. I really want to know. Okay, so let me know in the chat. Till then, till you guys give me a response, I'm just going to go ahead and look at the chat. All right, so Siddharth is asking which programming language to learn from game development. C++ is one of the best languages for learning game development. Okay, SSVKs, I am just here for GK about gaming industry. See, that's also fine. Gaming is a really awesome industry, and if you just want to know more about it, that's good too. Always good to be kept updated. We have Sanjay saying games help to enjoy a virtual world where we can live in our imagination. Exactly, Sanjay. We can just live and enjoy our imaginations. We can just get lost in that world. Life as it is kind of difficult, right? And kind of depressing. So it's nice when you have these kind of escapes. It's like reading a book. Okay, so do we have any courses? So Akash is asking for, do we have any courses? So let me just go GLA and over here. Yes. So we have two courses on gaming right now, and one of them is building games using Java, and one of them is building games using JavaScript. So go ahead and check out Great Learning Academy, and you'll get to know how to use these programming languages for making those specific games. Okay, Java and JavaScript are really good languages, and we have made courses for them. But if you guys want to start and have the safest option, I would suggest starting with C++ because almost every company makes use of C++. Or don't worry about it. Just whatever language you have, just stick to it and just start working in something like Unity. Unity is one of the best options, one of the more free options available. Start working in that. There are so many tutorials for it on YouTube, and we are even thinking of coming up with some tutorials. And there is a engine called Game Maker engine. Now that's a really good engine for beginners. I really recommend checking out Game Maker engine. Okay, so SSVK is asking, freelancing as a game developer is better. Freelancing. So generally, when you're saying freelancing as a game developer, right? So you won't necessarily be given task of making games. That might happen, but I don't think that's the whole case. What they'll do is they'll outsource like artwork or some kind of like a small works outsourcing. That can happen, but I'm not really aware about this in the industry as freelancing. If you want, you can make games for yourself. That really works. So Sanjay saying Raji game is pretty awesome. Yeah. So I think we're talking about the same game. Let me go ahead and show this. I think this is the game that, yeah. So Raji is an awesome game. I'm so happy a lot of you guys know about it. I totally forgot. These guys are developers from Pune, and they've come up with they're making this really beautiful game. And this is an indie company that that's making this game. I saw the trailer, but I forgot the name of it. Thank you so much for reminding me. Raji is an amazing game. I don't think it's released yet, but is it released? Okay, it's already released. Oh, okay. I definitely have to play this because it looked really beautiful. I saw the trailer back in 2020 itself, but I did not get to go around to play. Thank you so much for reminding me. I'll definitely check this out. It's made by developing a few guys, 3-4 guys in Pune or something. Okay, so SSVK is saying audio and video lagging. Yes, we are interested. Okay, so we have a people who are interested, and Sachidanand Maurya is saying, can Python be an option for game development? Python, yeah, you can use Python for game development, but it's not used that much in the industry. Yeah, I know that's a bummer because Python is one of the easier languages to learn, but it's not really used that much in the gaming industry. Okay, so sorry for that, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. You can use Python in a lot more other industries, so don't worry about that. All right. So now I want to know what is your background, because this is going to be an interesting thing. So let me know in the chat what kind of background do you come from. Like like Akash said that he has 2 experience in Java, right? So I'm guessing he's a software developer. So let me know what kind of work do you do, or what kind of background do you have, because it's going to be very relevant when you're discussing the careers. So there are a lot of career options in gaming, and I can go for days and days talking about each career. But I've sectioned them off, and we'll go each section by section. So the first section is game development, as in the coding part and the programming part. So as you guys can see, there are so many options over here. You can be a game programmer who just programs for the game, core game. The engine programmer. So games run on specific engines. So you need to program engines to perform certain tasks. So you have engine programmers like Unreal, Unity. Those are engines. Animation programmers. So once the animator is done making the animations, who's going to program or code them? There are animation programmers for that. You have AI programmers. So let's say you're playing Doom Eternal, or you're playing Doom, and in that you have a lot of monsters. How do they behave? What kind of actions do they do? Who decides that? The AI programmer decides that. Then you have multiplayer programmer. So in multiplayer environment, right, how a particular weapon should behave, and what kind of meta is there, what are the characters, and how do they get, basically all the things that happen, that those are done by the multiplayer game programmers. Then you have game designers. So game designers are generally basically a higher level. These are people who design the whole game, as the game as a whole, right? They are responsible for making sure that the game is working well all together, and the both technical side and the narrative side, gameplay side, all of those sides. And then you have level designers and mission designers. Now, level designers and mission designers are kind of the same role. There is a slight difference. So these people, they take specific levels, and they take specific missions that have been assigned to them by a game designer, or a lead, a creative director, or whoever's doing it, the lead position. And they start making the level around it, right? So they make the level in such a way that it's very enjoyable for the player to play. So I'm going to take the example of one of the latest games that came out back in 2020. It's called Doom Eternal. It's it's a little violent game. If you're not into violence, it's not something I think you should go for. But over there, you will see, a player entering a particular level, killing monsters, and doing, getting objectives, achieving objectives. Or let me take a more popular example. Let's take PUBG itself. So in PUBG, you have maps, right? So you have map designers. So these level designers will basically translate to being a map designer, where you have specific maps where you land, and where the building placement should be, where should the weapons cache should be, where should people should be allowed to land, and all of those things, right? So that's done by a mission designer, level designer, or map designer. Then you have light engineers who basically design. They're part of engine programming, where you design specific where the light should be lighting, right? And not just engine wise, if you want a specific position, you want to place the light, those kind of things. So there are a lot of positions, and I've just told you some of them. There are so many more, and the names might change. So this is too much to even mention. So here I'm basically gone through all the programming stuff, and most of the people who do all of this do it using C++, but C++ is used as a scripting language, but the engine, right, like Unity and all those. So if you want to program those engines, then there are different scripting languages. So what a lot of companies do is they come up with their own engines so that they don't have to pay royalties. So let's take the example of Raji. Raji is an amazing game, but it was made using Unreal Engine 4, right, which is owned by the Epic Games. So the people who made Raji, whatever money they earn, right, they have to give a certain part of it to Unreal Engine as the royalties, because they're making use of the engine. So what a lot of these big companies, they do, they have enough time to create their own engines for each game. So let's say the DICE engine. So you guys know about Battlefield, right? Battlefield 5. So Battlefield 5 is made in the It's made in the Dice. Dice is what engine? I think it's called Dice engine. No, yeah, Frostbite engine, right? It's the Frostbite engine. So it's an engine that specifically made by EA itself, right? Department in EA. I think EA Dice only made it. Anyways, so my point here being that, there are a lot of engines, and to make the engines from scratch also you need developers. So this is basically the developers part and somewhat of the designing part. Now we come to writing. So writing is something a lot of people often underlook, right? So in writing, you can have a lot of different roles. You can have a creative lead who decides how a particular thing is going to be laid out overall. So let's take the example of PUBG again, or I want to take a much better example now because I've talked about PUBG. And personally, I'm not that big of it. Let's talk about Halo. If you guys know about Halo, or if you know about Call of Duty, one of the latest Call of Duty games, right? So how is all the story being done? What kind of fictional environment are they going to be using? What kind of audios are they going to be using? All of those things, right? They are decided by the creative lead. He's basically going to decide how a game is going to be story-wise. But there are specific writers also who write the whole story, right? And then you have script writers who write the dialogues and everything. And then you have narrative designers. So narrative designers basically design specific narratives. So if you guys know about role-playing games like Skyrim, right? Skyrim has you can play a lot of quests. Or let's take example of Breath of the Wild, which is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You have a lot of options. It's an open world. Or Grand Theft Auto also. You have a lot of quests to do, right? In those quests, you have a lot of achievements that you'll unlock when you finish them, a lot of prizes. So the story, how that goes, is decided by the narrative designer. All the flavor text and all of that is done by the narrative designer. Then you have technical writers. They basically help in the background, not in games specifically. They help you, they help documenting everything and all that. Okay, so this is writing, and then comes animation. So you have a lot of different animations you're doing. You're doing 3D animation, you're doing 2D animation. So there are 3D animators, 2D animators. You have specifically weapon animators or character animators, and you have special, you have obviously senior animators and animation directors who do the whole thing together. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Now I'm seeing that there's a lot of activity in the chat, so I'm just going to check that out. Mahatab is saying C# is the best option. I would not say it's the best option, but it is being used. C# is used for scripting in Unity. So if you're using Unity, then you can do that. But C++ is a lot more widely used because it's very fast. Yes, Sanjay is saying it is released and he has played it. I think he's talking about Raji. What about JavaScript? Yes, you can make games in JavaScript also. There is a video that I've done. It's called the top programming languages used in gaming. Go ahead and check that out. Great learning. Top programming languages used in gaming. I talk about all the different games and all the engines that make use of JavaScript. You can use JavaScript in even augmented reality and virtual reality games, right? So Sanjay is saying, is there a course to study game engines? So as of now, we don't have a course on game engines. If you're interested in anything else, you can go ahead and check it out. But obviously, you have free resources available on the internet. You can Google it and check on YouTube. You'll have a lot of options. And first, try to learn for free. Unity is one of the best gaming engines, and they have their own documentation also. You can start with that. If not, I would recommend checking out Game Maker. Game Maker engine is also a very beginner-friendly engine. So the Game Maker engine is mostly used for 2D games. But it started 3D games also, but it's mostly used for 2D games. And that's how I would recommend you to start also. Make 2D games and then go to 3D games. Because in 3D games, you have to do 3D modeling, which is a lot more tougher than making 2D art. Okay? All right. So that's about animation. And people asking for courses for game development. We don't have any courses right now, but we do plan to have them in future. All right. So we have Ram Kandam asking, I'm a fresher. I know JavaScript, Angular, HTML, CSS. Which field should I choose? That's really a difficult thing to do, say to you. I think what you should go for is web development. Okay, web development is a really good career for you. Oh, Devashish is saying CSGO. Yep, CSGO is an awesome game too. I know a lot of people play CSGO. It's pretty popular. I haven't played it in a long time though. And I'm not a big fan of multiplayer games, but it is awesome to play with friends on LAN. I remember my college days, used to play with my friends a lot and it was very fun. Okay, so when it comes to artists also, if you guys are into art, right, then also you can start getting into game development because you can be a 2D artist, you can be a 3D modeler, You can be an art designer, basically define how a specific game's art style should look like. Art styles can really make or break the gameplay. You can be a concept artist who basically creates concept, and those concepts are turned into actual things by 3D modelers or 2D artists. Then you have environment artists who create environments. So if you have GTA, right, we talk about Grand Theft Auto, or we talk about Red Dead Redemption, or we talk about Last of Us, right? These are open world games. I don't think Last of Us is an open world game. I don't have a PS4, so I can't say. So open world games have big environments, right? Who will design those environments? Who does all that work? So you have environment artists. Then you have visual effects artists. They basically create effects like, like in movies, right? You have a lot of special effects, right? Even in games, you have special effects. So you have artists for that also. You have user interface artists also working. So you can design very beautiful interface that match with the art style of the game, right? So that's done by the UI artists. Then you have storyboard artists who basically help in the narrative part of the games, the storytelling part, who create, who draw out the cutscenes, and then, that cutscene storyboard is converted into the actual cutscene. Then you have lighting artists who design the lighting. So you have so many different artists also that get involved. And if you're into the audio or music part of the world, right, even then you can get into this, because you can be an audio designer who designs or creates the audio or mixes the audio for all the different things. In a game, when you're walking, right, you have those steps of walking, a person is speaking. So you have a lot of different audio in being used in a game. So that is being done by an audio engineer or audio designer. Then you have Foley engineers or Foley designers or Foley artists. These guys basically create those noises. So you guys should go ahead and check out this video called Halo Infinite Audio Design, where they show how they record the audio for Halo Infinite. And they do it in some really interesting ways. Like they capture the music, they capture the sound of a gun being fired, they capture the sound of a helicopter flying by, a car moving, a tractor, an old Xbox, a dog. So they use those noises in the game for different purposes. Then you have music composers. So one of the most popular music composers out there is Mick Gordon. He became really popular because of his Doom soundtrack. If you guys don't already know him, go ahead and check him out. His name is Mick Gordon. He's pretty cool. He's really, really cool. And you should really check him out. He's done a lot of awesome music in the past for a lot of games. Like he's done for Wolfenstein, The New Order. He's done for Doom and Doom Eternal. And he's done for Prey 2017. So you can check out those games and they have amazing music. Then you have voice actors. So obviously this is a big part. So voice actors who do the dialogues, they say the lines and everything. So that's done by a voice actor. Then you have testing. Now this is a part where a lot of entry level jobs come in, because play testing does not require a lot of technical knowledge and a lot of people can start doing it. But I'll be honest, you might be thinking that, oh, I get paid to play games. That's not exactly your job. If you're being a play tester or if you're a Q and quality assurance person, then your job will be to trying to break the game, right? So you won't be playing the game to enjoy the game. You'll be playing the game to break the game. That's how your normal QA works. Even in software, they use the software to break the software, right? They try to do that. So that's the job of a play tester and a QA. This is a very entry level position. The thing is that a lot of people get into this, they form their network after they join in becoming a playtester and all, and then they expand into other fields, because it then becomes really easy because you formed a network with a lot of different people. And obviously you have software testers also, because we're making software, we're making game, right? So there needs to be software testers also. Cool. So that was testing. Now there are a lot of miscellaneous roles. So guys, let me see if you guys told me about all the different backgrounds you come from. Oh yeah, Ajay Kumar is saying Uncharted Lost Legacy. That is part of the Uncharted series, and those games are really awesome. Anahita is saying my video is a bit slow. I'm so sorry about that. I hope my voice is clear, because that's the most important thing, right? Anyways, so miscellaneous roles. So the thing with gaming industry is that even without all of those roles, right, you still have a lot of supporting roles. So even if you're a business analyst, even if you're a software developer or a web developer, or let's say even if you are a person who's a data scientist, right, all those fields are also being utilized in the gaming industry, but not directly. Those are the supporting roles. You can be a marketing person, you can be a community manager, you can be a human resources person working in this industry, right? Even those roles do come in handy, because a game is a product, so you're trying to sell it also, right? So you want to know your market. That's why you have business analysts and you have data scientists to gather data and basically try to find better insights and everything. Then there are positions like studio director and producers. Those are very high level positions. You don't generally get those unless you started your own studio from the start itself. You get them later on in your career. Then you have human resources person, HR. Obviously, they're there in every company. Office managers. If you guys have seen The Office, you know what Pam did. That's basically an office manager, basically getting office supplies and everything. Then you have IT people also. If you're working in the IT field, you can work in IT field, but in a gaming industry also, right? So you just, if you're interested in the gaming field, gaming industry, and you are an IT person, you can shift your career into gaming industry. It's not a big change because there is an office environment. There are going to be a lot of systems people are working on, and they'll need a lot of maintenance. So they need an IT guy, and they need IT people also. So there's a requirement for that. Then obviously project manager, you're a project manager. Why don't you take a project up in gaming industry, right? Infrastructure engineers, if you're into DevOps or if you're into infra, then you can even again shift here. Web developers also, networking engineers, especially in multiplayer games, networking engineers are in high demand and they get paid a lot of money, man. And you have motion capture actors that goes into voice acting and all that, and then business analysts. So these are all the different miscellaneous roles, right? If you tell me any role right now, I can tell you whether it's part of the gaming industry or not, whether it's being used or not, right? So go ahead and tell me any role, and I'll tell you whether it's being used in the gaming industry or not. So there are a lot of different roles that we saw, right? There's just so many multitude of roles that are being utilized in the gaming industry, and they're really awesome because that's a big entry for us. Even if we come from varied background, right? Even if we have different kind of technical skills, we can all work together to make this amazing game. And that's what I really love about gaming, right? It's kind of like making movies, but it's not that pretentious. Okay. Okay. Now, let's say if you guys, all right. So Ajay is asking about talking in Hindi. Okay. So Sanjay said biotechnology. Maybe as a consultant you can use biotechnology, but yeah, I guess that's one field that is not directly being used in gaming industry. As a consultant, maybe if you're making a game on viruses, then you might need a biotechnician or the person in that field for consulting, like how a virus behaves and all that. Cool. Okay, so they're talking about talking Hindi. I can talk in Hindi, Ajay, but I'm not talking Hindi because there are going to be people who don't know Hindi. So we'll have a specific section in Hindi itself. That makes it easy for a lot of people. Okay, so Bhavik is asking how to build a AAA game. That is to build a AAA game, you have to be part of a AAA company, because AAA basically means a company with a very high budget with a lot of people working in it. Now, you can join a AA company, which is a medium-sized company with a lot of people, but not as much as AAA, and you can join them. Okay, and then you have indie games, which are basically startups, indie companies, right? If you guys want me to give you good examples of indie companies that you guys might know. So yeah, if you guys know about Among Us was made by 3 guys who were working together. It's not made by a AAA company, it's made by an indie company. AA game would be a difficult option to say. If I know a game, but you guys don't know about it, and I think I forgot about it, the name for it. Anyways, that's besides the point. Someone said data analyst. Yep, data analyst position is definitely there in the gaming industry. Cool. Now, so I will tell you guys how to get started. So there are 2 things you will need. First, education, and then second, experience. You can have either of these things and it will still work. So just either have experience or either have education. If you don't have either, then it's going to be difficult. So let's start with education. So how can you go ahead and get an education in gaming? So there are a lot of, actually these days, a lot of college institutions have come up that basically cater to just gaming, right? They provide you courses on how to become a gaming developer, artist, 3D artist, and all those things. So you have a few options over there. You can either go to a proper college and get a proper degree from there. You can either do a crash course. You can check out online courses that are available, or you can check out the free resources, obviously, right? So you can do a mix of all of these things. You can even you can check out free resources. You can do an online course. You can do a crash course, and you can go to a college also. You can do any combination of these things. Okay, so you need to have either of these things. All right, when it comes to experience, right, that's where it gets a little tricky, because for experience you either need to get experience as an intern, through modding, through game jams, or through personal projects, or just plain old job, right? If you worked as a certain something as a job, then you get experience. But if you're going to entry level, it's going to be a little difficult. So you need to get into an internship, become a play tester, get into modding. Modding is basically taking a game you already like and adding new stuff to it by yourself. Let's take the example of Grand Theft Auto. Have you seen all of those crazy videos where they have different, like you have Superman in the game, you have Flash in the game, or they have added something which was not part of the game earlier? That's called modding. So with modding, we take something that was not part of the game and we add it to the game. Okay, so a lot of people do it, and the modding scene is really awesome. There's a big community for every game. The biggest modding community is for Skyrim. If you guys know about Skyrim, it has one of the biggest communities out there for modding, and they keep on adding new stuff here and there. Some people have made a living out of making content on the different mods that are out there on YouTube. So you can see how big modding is. Then there is something called game jams. Game jams are basically competitions where you make games in 2-3 days. That's a big competition. And if you get the first prize, you get different options. You get offer from different companies, or you can always show it in your resume. And then personal projects, if you're working on your own game on a Unity or Game Maker, that really helps too. Okay, so that was all about the experience. Average salaries. Let's talk about that. So I'll be honest over here. I've given a very average number. These average numbers may not be true always, and these are very what do you say, the word is, they're not at all accurate, let's be honest, because I've given you so many careers. All of these careers, right, have different kind of salaries, and even specific roles can have different kinds of salaries, and it can all depend on which company you're working on. It can depend where you're working. It can depend on how well you negotiate for your salary and your skills. So it can be very varied, and I feel like I shouldn't even mention the salaries, but I think it's very, it's a part of the thing. You have to talk about the salaries, so I'm talking about the salaries. Okay, so $100,000 and up is generally for game developers. And in India also, if you're working for a good game developing company, there are some companies like Zynga and all, you can earn really well, like even 7 lakhs and up. Okay, but those are only for game developers. If you're talking about writing or audio mixing or all that, then it changes. Okay, all right, so let's move on. Now let's the final thing, the Q&A. So guys, now you can go ahead and ask me any question you have relevant to this field or any adjacent field, and I'll try to answer that. Then we'll go ahead and end the session. Sanjay saying Among Us is a mobile multiplayer game. Yes, it is a mobile multiplayer game, but it is also there on PC. Who's the biggest gaming company in India? If you're talking about an indigenous gaming company, I'm not exactly sure. I think it would be difficult to point out, because a lot of gaming companies can be gambling companies, and a lot of mobile companies are there that make mobile games also. So I'm not really aware of that. I'm sorry about that. But I do know some companies like the developers who made Raji and Dhruv Interactive. They're a very old company. They were established in 1998. But I don't know any iconic games that they've made. They do outsourcing mostly these days. So in India, basically, you have a lot of outsourcing happening. A lot of these companies that have studios in America and Canada and Europe, they outsource a lot of their work to these smaller companies in India who do it for much cheaper. So I don't really know a lot of games. But if you wanted to say non-indigenous company, Rockstar, EA and Ubisoft, these are the 3 big companies that are there in India. They have studios. Ubisoft has a studio in Pune. Rockstar has one in Bangalore. And EA also has in Bangalore, I think. I'm not exactly sure. But I know Rockstar and Ubisoft have big offices over here. Okay, Sanjay is asking a really awesome question. Is adding DLC modding? No, modding is done by the community. It's not paid unless you're talking about Bethesda, and I'm not going to go into that. Modding is not paid. It's a free thing that people do for free, and it's something they do for the community. Like, let's say that we talk about Raji, right? Raji is a really awesome game. It is about the Indian mythology. Right, it's about Indian mythology, right? Somewhat. So as a modder, what I would do is I would change this character for someone else, or I would add a few more levels to this game, and I would share those levels with my friends, with people online. That's modding. The levels that I created by myself. Okay. If you make any new PUBG maps, that's a part of modding. The thing is, modding really does not translate into multiplayer games, because multiplayer games are generally, they don't allow modding in most cases. DLC is downloadable content. So that's the full form of DLC, downloadable content. That's made by companies, and they make DLCs so that people can pay for those DLCs after the game has been released. Those are just extra content. So if you played any of the new AAA games, let's say Call of Duty, and there is a new expansion for Call of Duty, so you have to pay for that expansion and then you download it. That is a DLC. That's different than modding. Okay, so Bhavik is asking, do you require other developers to work with you? No, you can make a game by yourself. So there is a game called Undertale. It is one of the most popular games out there that you will not have heard of. It's an indie game. It's been made by one person, and see, you can see the rating. It's 10 out of 10. The story aspect of it is really good. It's a 2D game, and it's made by just one person. Now, the next part of your question, the earlier part of your question was, which is the best gaming engine? I would recommend you guys check out Unity. Unity is good, or if you want Game Maker is good, beginner friendly, and you can always do Unreal also. Okay, so these are the three engines. Is Bhavik is saying, is Battle Royale the future of game? No, I can 100% guarantee Battle Royale is going to be a phase. I think it's already kind of dying. The thing is that Fortnite did not start it. Even PUBG did not properly start it. It popularized it. And after PUBG, it was Fortnite. And after Fortnite, it was, there was one game, I forgot the name of it. But then after that was Among Us. And they're kind of Battle Royale like, but they're not exactly. The Battle Royale genre is definitely going to die out. Something new is going to take its place. That's how the industry is. You always have new trends, and old trends become old. It's not going to be the future, I can guarantee you that. Because multiplayer games aren't the best thing ever. If you guys remember Age of Mythology or Age of Empires, if you played one of those strategy games in the past, as a kid, you really enjoyed it, right? You really enjoyed playing a game just by yourself without having other people. So those are single player games, and you can really enjoy them without having to play a battle royale, right? Format. So there are a lot of different experiments we can do. Let's see which one is the best. Sanjay is asking, qualification to get trainee post in a gaming company. Okay. So I would recommend, if you want to get into the gaming industry, let's imagine that you are into coding part of the gaming industry. So I would recommend going to game jams, like entering competitions, trying to make games, and I would acting off with Unity or Game Maker. Start off with learning Unity, make your own game. Actually, that's how most people start. Self-taught people start by making their own games. Make your own game. Let it be 2D. Let it be easy. Let it be very small. Just make something. Okay, once you make that something, you're gonna get that energy, you're gonna get that adrenaline boost because you made something, you made a game. And once you're done with that, you can move on to other projects. You can make more projects, and you can put them in your resume and show it to the company, whatever company you want to go into, as a software developer or as a level designer, narrative designer, whatever may be. And they will take you based on that. Like, they'll look at your projects. If they like you, then they'll take you. It's not necessary that you need experience or education. Now, making projects itself counts as experience. And if you make it by yourself, then it's a big deal. You cannot generally make games by yourself. It takes a lot of effort, but it's not to say that it's completely impossible. You can make games. I've made games in past. I use Game Maker engine, and that was a really awesome experience. I look back at it and I really enjoy it. Maybe one day I can show it to you guys. Maybe I can make a tutorial on how to do it. Okay. Now, going to the next question. SSVK is asking, yeah, even animation companies do a lot of outsourcing instead of production or development for regional market. Why is that not changing yet? Ooh, that is a very hard hitting question. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm so happy you gave me that question. See, the thing is that the standards of living, right? They're really different. In America, in the Western world, the standard of living is way higher. A delivery guy over there might earn 2-3 lakhs per month. Over here, a very high developer, like a software developer too, earns like 2-3 lakhs. So you can see the big gap there is, right? Now, it's not necessary to say that, if the delivery guy comes over here, he's going to earn the same amount. Obviously not. It's just the standards of living. Now, why is the outsourcing happening and why are we not coming with their own things? I think it's because labor is cheaper over here and people really don't have the passion. Now, I'm going to say something that is maybe unpopular. I'm not sure. I think the education industry, right, that we grew up in, it wasn't really the best. It did not promote individual growth or creative thinking. We never concentrated on our creative thinking. Even when you see Bollywood movies being made, right? What are the most popular Bollywood movies? Like Salman Khan or Shah Rukh Khan. They make movies that are very safe for the crowd. Everyone can enjoy. Big demographic can enjoy. But it's not creatively, challenging anyone. It's not making people think. Similarly, even as kids, right? We are just made to think, join industry, just get a good job, be an engineer and get a good job. Before it was mechanical engineering back in the 70s. Now it's software engineering back from 90s onwards. And now you have e-learning institutes that, basically say coding is everything, which is not true. You can see with our initiative itself. We don't concentrate just on coding. We have data science and everything. And we are trying to expand to other stuff like gaming also. So I think it's more about not having the creative freedom from childhood itself. That's why. Even in animation, as you said, that's true. We don't have a good studio in India that is making awesome stuff. There are some good studios online. Like there is a really good studio. Check out this short called The Fisherwoman and Tuk Tuk. That's a really good short made by an Indian animation studio. I think you'll really enjoy it. And I see a lot of love and passion going into that. But it's again a very small studio. They haven't made any feature films, and there are no game development studios that make big games like Ubisoft or something. Sorry for the rant for other people. YouTube Muntazir is asking, can any game be made which will add value with entertainment? Yeah, dude, you can make any game. If you make some experimental game, that's awesome. Just, make any game. And if you're able to provide entertainment to your gamer, then that's awesome. Experiment, see what works and see what does not work. Learn from your mistakes and just enjoy doing what you're doing. We have Blazer saying, for game designing, how much code knowledge do I require? As far as I searched, game design just requires basic code knowledge, they said. Okay. And you said COD Warzone. Okay, so you love playing Call of Duty Warzone. Yeah, Call of Duty Warzone is good. It's free also. So game designing is, you need basic. So I'll be honest, a lot of game designing roles that I've seen so far are people who become from game developers to game designers, right? And it's a very varied industry. To become a game designer, I think what you require is you do need to know coding. When I say basic coding, you need to know enough coding that you can program your own game. And while you're making that game, right, your own game, personal game, in that you have to design the game in such a way that the experience for the gamer is awesome. He's entertained thoroughly. So that design, right, that's how you learn the design. So once you actually reach such a position, then you don't have to do any coding aspects, but you do have to sit with people and you have to tell them how the game should be like, right? So I think it's a stepping stone. You will need to know it so that, you can make better games. You need to know coding if you're going to be a game designer to make better games, but it may not strictly be that case because I don't exactly know about that. Whether you can directly become a game designer or not. I've not heard about it in such thing happening, but check it out. I'm not fallible. I don't know everything. So go ahead and check it out. Maybe that's the case, but as far as I think, you need to be a game developer before you become a game designer. Okay, so Bhavik is asking, sir, what kind of game is Clash of King and how to build one? Okay, So I don't know Clash of King because I've never played Clash of Kings, but I know Clash of Clans. I'm assuming it's the same thing. That is something called a free-to-play game where you attract people by telling them it's free, but then once they get addicted to your game, you give them a shopping store where they buy stuff from you. Anyways, I'm going to the business model. I think what you're asking about is the gameplay. So the gameplay, I don't think it's a good game. I'll tell you why. Because their gameplay is basically trying to make you grind and play the game every day for hundreds of days without enjoying it. Because your enjoyment does not come from playing the game. Your enjoyment comes from achieving achievements. Like you played for 100 days, or you destroyed the other person's castle. I'm not sure what happens, in Clash of Clans, I think you destroy other people's clans and all that. So the thing is that they place a lot of barriers, where if you want to proceed, you need to grind and grind and grind. And if you don't want to grind, you pay the money to go that level. So I don't think it's a good example to follow. But if you want to make a game like that, then it's a mobile game. I think you can still make it. It's a bit of a strategy game where you're having a base and you are building certain buildings in real time, not in the game time. Like it takes 2 days to make a house. So those kind of stuff. So I don't know how to make that game exactly, but you can search it online. All right. So SSVK is giving a recommendation for me. Check out Studio Durga for the animated series. Definitely. I will definitely check out. I want to see more game development studios and animation studios giving out, talking about the making passionate projects. Okay. All right. So I think we have talked for a long time. I think we did a Q&A for a long time. I hope you guys really enjoyed this session. And I hope it was as fun for you as it was for me. I really loved SSVK's question. It was about outsourcing, why outsourcing is the bigger problem than why don't we have indigenous